What would you do if your own country seemed to turn its back on you while enemies tortured you for years, trying to make you betray it on camera? Air Force Major Fred Cherry faced exactly that choice, and his decision changed everything. In this story from Black History in America, you will discover how one man's unbreakable spirit held firm through 7 years and 7 months of hell as a prisoner of war in Vietnam. On October 22, 1965, Major Fred Cherry led a mission in his F-105 Thunderchief fighter bomber over North Vietnam. Enemy fire struck the plane and it exploded in the air. Cherry ejected, but the landing shattered his ankle, broke his wrist, and crushed his shoulder. North Vietnamese militia captured him almost immediately. He became the first Black American officer taken prisoner in that war, and his captors quickly realized they had a powerful tool in their hands. They knew the racial tensions back in the United States. They told Cherry that America did not care about him or people who looked like him. They promised better food, medical care, and an easier life if he would only make a simple statement condemning racism in his own country. Cherry refused. He gave them nothing beyond his name, rank, serial number, and date of birth. That refusal set the stage for years of suffering. The guards dragged him to the infamous Ho Lo prison, known to Americans as the Hanoi Hilton, and later moved him to other camps they called the Zoo. His injuries went untreated at first, leaving him in constant pain. Interrogations became daily events. When words failed to break him, the torture began. They twisted his arms behind his back until his injured shoulder popped out of its socket. They beat him and left him without care. Still, Cherry held his silence. His captors grew frustrated. They decided to try a different tactic. They placed a white Navy pilot from the South, Ensign Porter Halyburton, into Cherry's cell. The guards hoped that racial hatred between the two men would finally crack Cherry's resolve and give them the propaganda victory they wanted. A black man and a Southern white man locked together in misery. What could possibly go right? What happened next surprised everyone, including the guards. Instead of fighting, the two pilots began to help each other survive. Halyburton, seeing Cherry's broken body and weakness, nursed him back from the edge of death. He shared what little food there was and offered quiet encouragement in the darkness. Cherry, in turn, drew strength from the bond that formed. The two men talked for hours about their lives, their families, and their duty. Racial differences that the captors counted on melted away in the face of shared suffering and common honor. They became more than cellmates. They became lifelong brothers. The punishment for Cherry's continued refusal grew harsher. He spent a total of 702 days in solitary confinement. One stretch alone lasted 53 weeks. During another period, the guards tortured or punished him for 93 days in a row without a break. Days blurred into nights. Pain became his constant companion. Isolation pressed down on his mind, yet Cherry never gave the enemy the statement they demanded. He never allowed them to use him against the country he had sworn to serve. Through it all, the friendship with Halyburton kept both men alive in more ways than one. They supported each other when hope felt distant. They reminded each other why they had chosen to fly into danger in the first place. Their bond stood as a quiet rebuke to the division their captors tried to exploit. In the heart of enemy territory, two Americans from very different backgrounds proved that loyalty and integrity could rise above everything else. Cherry's captivity stretched on for 7 years and 7 months. He endured more than 2,670 days total as a prisoner of war. Many times he wondered if freedom would ever come. Then, in early 1973, the long wait ended. On February 12th, Operation Homecoming brought him and other POWs back to American soil. Cherry stepped off the plane a changed man, but with his spirit intact. For his extraordinary courage and resistance, especially during a brutal stretch of harassment and torture in 1967, the United States awarded him the Air Force Cross. It was the service's second highest honor. He also received 2 Purple Hearts, the Silver Star, 2 Distinguished Flying Crosses, and many other decorations. Promotion to colonel followed. Yet Cherry rarely spoke of his suffering as a burden. To him, those years were simply part of the duty he had accepted. His story reminds us that true strength often shows itself not in the absence of pain, but in the refusal to let pain define you. Fred Cherry could have chosen bitterness toward a nation that still struggled with racial equality at home. Instead, he chose integrity. He chose to stand by the principles that mattered most, even when the country he loved gave him every reason to doubt. His friendship with Porter Halyburton stands as living proof that shared humanity can overcome the deepest divides. Fred Cherry passed away in 2016 at the age of 87 and was laid to rest at Arlington National Cemetery. But his legacy continues in every person who hears how one man refused to break. In the darkest cell, with broken bones and endless isolation, he held fast to something bigger than himself. This is more than a war story. It is a story about character, about what happens when loyalty meets real tests, and about the kind of courage that does not need an audience to shine. Fred Cherry showed the world that integrity has no color and no expiration date. It simply endures. Thanks for watching this chapter of Black History in America. If Fred Cherry's story moved you, drop a comment with the word integrity and share which part stayed with you the most. Hit like if you believe stories like this deserve to be remembered, and subscribe for more powerful, true accounts from American history. See you in the next one.